Well, hello, and welcome to Stop, Let's Team Up. I'm Ross Aiken, I'm your host, and this is this week's episode 89 is Danger Street, Book 12 slash first issue special, issue number 12. But we're also going to cover issue 13, because there is not a 13th issue of Danger Street, which I'm not sure why they did that. And but we'll talk about that at the end. So first, let's talk about, this is the last chapter of Danger Street. It's issue 12. It was published on December 12th, 2023. It's got a cover date of February 2024. It has got executive editors Marie Javin. The cover is by Jorge Fornes. Sorry, tongue-tied. And Dave Stewart. It's a group shot of everybody. I really, really like it. There is an alternate cover by Ronaldo, which is a very disco, and I like it's a very disco because I refer to Michael as the Disco Starman cover, variant cover, which is very nice. The title of this one is Chapter 12, Starman, as it has been. The credits exactly the same. Writer Tom King, penciler Jorge Fornes. He is also the inker. Colorist Dave Stewart. Letterer Clayton Cowles. Editors Brittany Holzer. Jillian Grant and Chris Conway. And here is a synopsis from the Fandom Wiki. I'm glad that these are being updated quickly because this is a lot going on in this issue. So this is easier than me rambling through it. The Helmet of Fate presents the final installment of this story. The resurrection spell has restored both Metamorpho's arm, which leaves under its own power to rejoin his body, and the Outsiders. Commodore Murphy escapes the now powerless Outsiders who celebrate the loss of their deformities and attempt to regain control of the plane. He finds that his assets have been seized and that a warrant is out for his arrest thanks to the evidence provided by Abdul Smith. Smith calls a car to Los Angeles, leaving the Commodore in the desert. The Dingbats of Danger Street and Starman are reunited with the resurrected Good Looks and Warlord, while Orion agitates Lisa Warner and the Creeper to take action in preventing the sky from falling. Regretfully, Warner and the heroes explain to the Dingbats that Good Looks, now in the possession of Atlas's soul, must take his place in holding up the sky to save the universe. Refusing to lose his friend, Crunch suggests that the Dingbats accompany Good Looks to keep him from performing his duties alone. And Starman, channeling his energy through Orion's mother box, transports all four to the fulcrum of the clouds. With the world saved, Warner places the heroes under arrest and sets out into the desert with the Helmet of Fate to seek answers. After an unsuccessful interrogation, the man responsible for the creation of the Outsiders and the Green Team, the Lord of Chaos, arrives, retrieving the helmet and identifying it as the God of Order, his opposite number. Paying no heed to Warner's attempts to arrest him, the Lord of Chaos explains that the helmet would only answer her question with a story of a far-off kingdom. Presently being told walks off into the desert. Back on Danger Streets, Warner stops the Outsiders for driving the ATV on the street without a license and reprimands Mary for calling her Lady Cop, just as she did with the Dingbats and Good Looks before his death. At the same time, the Commodore is processed into prison. Jack Ryder is looking for work at the Daily Planet, and the Dingbats support Good Looks as he holds up the world, concluding the God of Order's tale. I really like this. It tied everything up, and it ties it up. The main action up has been tied up. Everybody's back. This is everybody where they're going to go. What's their next step? We get to see that other than everybody be back. We get to see what these people got out of their adventure, Warlord and Starman, they're just still traveling, being heroes. Metamorphos happily back together. The Outsiders are free of the prize or the penalty they won in that game years ago, and now are just regular kids hanging out on Danger Street. Good looks. His friends come and stay with him. It's tight. They're Goonies. They're Goonies. I love it. I love Lisa Warner. I think that we need her to be a regular in some superheroes book where she can't stand the superhero, but they work together. I'd love it. Create a new Starman in the vein of Will Payton and have it be out there. I think that'd be great. I just absolutely love this series. I really did. The art's beautiful. I'm a Tom King fan. There's a couple things of his that didn't hit me, but everything in the last couple of years is really sound, especially these kind of black label outside of continuity stories. But let's talk about which ones this was based. This one was after Starman, and I've already done an episode for Opal City Confidential about this first issue special number 12 featuring the Disco Starman. So I just go back and listen to that. It's like the third episode of Opal City. It's my thoughts haven't really changed on this one. I think the more I've read it, I reread it again because I was going to do this episode, and I really liked it a little more. It's still just a basic superhero comic. I really, really appreciate the art, Mike Vosberg art, much more now than I did when it was coming out. But now whenever I ever see this or the Secret Society and stuff like that, I think his work sings. I think it's fun. I think it's great, and I really like the art in this. But we're also going to cover, because I haven't talked about this, first issue special number 13 featuring the return of the New Gods. So the New Gods had been canceled. The Kirby ones with 11. And this is a couple of years later, and they're going to try it again. I posted this cover. My brother Hugh, who is the ultimate Jack Kirby fan, said he gave me the vomit emoji because it's one. I think it's because of this redesign of Orion, and I agree. It's not as good as the original costume and unnecessary. It's still not a bad costume. I still think it's a good costume. I just don't think it's a good Orion costume. But this issue came out was cover dated April 1976. It has a Dick Giordano cover, and it's got Orion, Big Barda, Light Ray, Mantis, and Mr. Miracle flying, which didn't make sense, but it's a neat little cover. This was Joe Orlando's the executive editor. This was written by Jerry Conway and Denny O'Neil, probably Jerry plot, Denny O'Neil script, Mike Vosberg pencils and inks, editors Jerry Conway, Paul Levitz. The synopsis is Darkseid once again prepares for war on Earth and draws Orion into the fray with a parademon attack on New Genesis. Orion goes to Earth, defeats Calabac and other Apocalypse soldiers in combat, and closes on Darkseid. But the source indicates to Highfather and Metron that Earth will be destroyed if Orion destroys Darkseid, and Darkseid reveals to his son that he has attuned his own heartbeat to the rhythms of Earth's sun. If he is destroyed, the sun will go nova and destroy Earth and its entire solar system. Darkseid admits he has brought Orion there to taunt him and sends him back to New Genesis with Highfather and Metron. However, Darkseid admits that Orion has damaged his forces and that he will have to rebuild anew. And this features, of course, Orion, Big Barda, Highfather Asa, Metron, Light Ray, Mr. Miracle, Orion. Bad guys are Darkseid, Dr. Bedlam, Granny Goodness, Calabac, Parademons. It takes place on Earth, and New Genesis. I'd forgotten this one. I read it. It's okay. I liked. I have one. The Jerry Conway when they brought the book back. New Gods. I liked that series. I read it and the Mr. Miracle, but more I was doing the Mr. Miracle more so because it was Englehart and Rogers, and then Englehart and Mike Golden. So it as a whole, I thought was a much better series than the New Gods that came back out when they brought both of these books back after the hiatus after Kirby left. But this one was good. I liked it, but I did like the other series because Don Newton drew a lot of it, and it's just Don Newton is one of these great artists that just died way too soon, and I loved his stuff work at DC. Loved it, and this stuff was beautiful. This one was an entertaining one. I liked it. I mean, it's a really simple Darkseid story. I mean, it's compared to the Kirby, which is very big and bold and broad. And I have not read all of it, and that is one of my goals this year is to start reading New Gods. I've got the New Gods Heart Omni. There's another one coming out. It's got everything after that, including Great Darkness and other things, which I think is cool. And then I've got the Byrne Simonson one. So I'm going to try to do a read like I have been with FF. Start and read that run slowly over the next year or two. But I like this one. It was good. It was for the 70s. It was, it was really basic, but it was okay. It wasn't, not reinventing the wheel. But that's it. But let me talk about Danger Street as a whole. And I've said it over and over again in this is the 12th episode about it. That I like the concept of taking a series and just using the characters. You didn't have to do each issue specifically related to the character you're naming it after, but just taking these characters and then creating a story around them. Take characters out of their normal element, which is what I liked. I liked that Warlord and Starman and Metamorpho felt like really, really second stringers. And in a way they are, but if you were growing up in the 70s, man, Warlord that book ran for a while. I mean, Disco Starman's the only one who never had his own series. It wasn't really reinvented and reused until Robinson did in Starman. So, but that's kind of cool because they feel they're playing on the second stringers. Are they second stringers? Are they heroes? Are they good people? And there's a relationship between Starman and Warlord, which is I really liked it. I felt that they were really good friends. I didn't feel it was forced. I felt the connection that these are guys that have each other's back. I like that. I like that the Dingbats were like that. The story of the Commodore, of the Green Team and the Outsiders, I didn't think those characters would really sing to me. But their thing about the contest, once we knew why they were what they were and what had happened, I really thought in the beginning it was Metron who did the thing with the kids. I really thought it was Metron from the New Gods. But that it was a kid. And you slowly get these pieces of information. I like that. I like the Manhunter. I'm really kind of sad that Manhunter and Codename Assassin aren't in the last quarter of the story because they've died, because they're the tools of these two other things. And do they serve a purpose as much as, say, all the other interactions? Starman and Warlord feel bad for killing the kid. They want to help redeem it. Orion wants to save the universe because Atlas is dead and the universe will fall. The New Gods are doing the same. All these Lady Cop's just trying to solve a murder, and she's so cool. Takes no gruff anything. Hard-nosed cop. I love her. She's my favorite character. And the Creeper being this kind of sleazy second string hero who's just all he wants is fame, and all these elements, and not all of their stories. I didn't see how all their stories end up being stories about resurrection. Because, Warlord doesn't die until issue 11. Or 12. 10. And then he's resurrected in 11. So all these people are dying and stuff like that. So I kind of get that. That they all end up there needing a resurrection. But I didn't feel like that was... I didn't know they were going to... I didn't know if they were actually going to have a resurrection. I knew they were going to try to save Good Looks. I wasn't like, was the story about death going to be death is death? But it all worked for me. It was a fun story. I really want to kind of go back and read all 12 issues just straight through as a single graphic novel in that kind of way without without pauses for a month or 2 months at a time, and without reading the first issue special, not just taking it in as itself. And see how it holds up and how it forms a cohesive novel-like format, long-form comic story, graphic novel instead of a 12-issue series. I like that it came out in 12-issue series because it allowed me to do this little experiment. But I think it's going to read it's going to read very differently as a single entity. And I don't want to do that right now. I just, I've got other things I'm reading, and I'm just going to pause. I'll probably wait. When that comes out in a big deluxe edition, or we're all, trade with all 12 issues, I'm going to buy it, because it's a series I will reread. I mean, I will probably reread it in the next 6 months and talk about it again. So I hope you've enjoyed this series over the last 12 or 13 months, however long it took. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate you listening to Starman. Appreciate you listening to anything I put out. And that's Gallifrey's Most Wanted. It's been an up and down kind of year. And I guess for everybody have those. And I haven't really posted as on time or regular as I wanted to. But I appreciate you following me. I appreciate all the other podcasters, Ron, Billy, Dave, Pete, who let me talk on their shows, Hicks and Sean and everybody else. I've had guests talking to Graham on his podcast when we talked about the French Civil War comic book, and all the guys that have been on Gallifrey's Most Wanted with me, and I appreciate all that. And it's Christmas Eve when I record and drop this. I was going to drop it yesterday, but I'm enjoying my vacation. So you all have a Merry Christmas. And if you listen to this somewhere else, just have a Merry next Christmas, all right? So be safe, be smart, be kind to one another during this holiday season, and read some comics.